Hello, I'm JohntheFish, and this video is about the block edit dialog and dashboard settings for Snapshot. Snapshot's an add-on that provides a highly optimized way of getting images from your browser directly into the Concrete 5 file manager. We've had previous videos about the individual tools at the front end. We've had the webcam or device cam capture tool, a screen grabber tool, and a drag and drop uploader. They're available as buttons in the dashboard toolbar or as blocks on the page. Each instance of a tool has its own unique set of settings, but the dialogues for controlling those settings are extremely similar. So I will be showing you just one set of settings and a little bit about the differences, and the rest you can work out for yourselves. At the moment we're in the overview page for the dashboard settings. This sits beneath System and Settings, Snapshot Settings, and here we have quick links to the webcam settings, the screen grab settings, or the drag and drop settings. So if I pop to the webcam settings, here we have some options on where the tool's visible and general functionality, how the images are handled before uploading, what's visible with the tools toolbar once you've snapped an image and you've got a toolbar to control how you're going to edit or manipulate that image before uploading, where the image is uploaded to from file name, folder, subfolder and file sets, security settings that you can use to block particular IP addresses or banned words from using a tool, particularly relevant if you want to enable a tool for guests, and some diagnostic settings. Screen grab, very similar, and drag and drop, again very similar, except there's some options for which file extensions it will accept. Let's go back to the webcam settings. Enable for the toolbar, that's whether the button appears up here. Enable for dashboard pages, that's for whether the button appears up here when you're in the dashboard. Enable for pages in edit mode, similarly if you've got a front end page in edit mode, whether you want to continue showing the tool. Enable file upload. If this isn't checked, you can use the tool as much as you like at the front end, but uploads will be rejected. Right click to settings is a shortcut from these tools to these dashboard pages. So if I was to right click on this webcam button here, it has clicked me back to the page that I was on. Image handling is size and width and some application specific capabilities like the live view dimensions for the webcam and whether to use the front cam or the back cam on a mobile phone. For the screen grabber, there's a time delay option here. Once you've opened a tool and its little toolbar is there, which tools to actually show. So we could, for example, have a toolbar open but not show image editing if you didn't want to allow image editing from the front end. Upload destination is quite a big thing. For some tools you might just want to send them always to the same file. But what we have is a whole bunch of placeholders that you can put in here to construct a file name based on the name of the file being uploaded, the time of day or the day of the week or the month, the username, the page that the upload is made from, the parent of the page that the upload is made from, or in fact any ancestor. I'll close that down. If you're allowing guests to upload, rather than just blanket setting guest permissions to allow uploads, each individual tool instance can be connected to a user that you create, a pseudo user, whose purpose is solely to be used for allowing a guest to upload as that user. So you can create a user, give it specific permissions and allocate it to a specific instance of one of these tools. That gives you very fine-grained control over which front-end tools are allowed to upload to where and stuff when you've enabled uploads by guest users. Now, uploading by guests is something that you really have to think hard about, because perhaps you don't want absolutely everyone photobombing your site with thousands and thousands of image uploads. But perhaps you actually want to enable that sort of thing, and this is a way of helping you to manage it. When you upload, users also need permission to add files in the file manager. When you upload, any tool instance can be connected to a folder, and within that a subfolder. Now, subfolders don't have to actually exist. You can create subfolders on the fly according to a very similar set of placeholders to what we previously looked at for the file name. So you could create a new subfolder for every day of the week if you wanted to, or you could create a new subfolder for every page as an image is taken, perhaps a screen grab of a page. You can create a subfolder for that page that will store all screen grabs of that page. And you don't have to pre-create all of these. They will be created as required according to the placeholders you put in the subfolder section here. When a file already exists, you've got a choice of replacing files with the same name, with the same owner, with the same title and such, and whether that's relevant to the actual folder or whether it's relevant to the subfolder. We can also ignore permissions when replacing files. So you could create one file, add a block that can only ever upload to that file to the front end of the site, and ignore permissions is another way of allowing guests to only ever replace one file as many times as they like, but it's still only that one file. Similarly, we can ignore permissions when creating subfolders. So subfolders are created, but you don't need to give guests permission to create subfolders, or in fact any user permission to create subfolders. You can create subfolders for them on their behalf. Very similar for file sets. We've got existing file sets, or we can create new file sets according to a list of placeholders. And here we can have more than one file set by just sticking commas between the placeholders and the names that we put in here. Security, we can enable a core anti-spam check if the core has got an anti-spam service added to it. That'll run any image title or description through the anti-spam check and reject images that fail. Similarly for banned words, any image upload from a banned IP address can be rejected, and we can also reject long titles or long descriptions. Final section here is diagnostics. We can log successful and unsuccessful uploads. We can enable a JavaScript debug output. This is from the tools when they're actually in use in the browser to stream a whole load of diagnostic information to the developer console. This is useful. You get problems and you need to ask me. I can say, well, what's happening in debug output, and this will give you a lot more information. It's also perhaps useful for others who want to interface to these tools or have their own scripts interfacing to the browser in similar ways, and they need to sort out arguments between them. The final option here is to force an error on upload. If you force an error, you will always get an error return back to the browser, and that can be useful for theme designers who want to style the error messages that show at the front end of these tools. Let's come back up to the top here. I think really the rest of this is something for users to explore. It's extremely flexible and it's up to you how you're going to use it. All the tools have very similar settings. The front end block tools have a slightly reduced set of settings, but it's nearly all of these options are available from the blocks at the front end. Remember that you also need to enable users to upload to the file manager, and that is in Concrete 5 permissions. Thank you for watching. If you've watched the videos for the previous 3 tools and for this edit dialogue video, congratulations on your endurance. Goodbye.